Just like with Clubhouse, Chalet is another great example of how a map can go from being extremely unbalanced to very balanced with just a rework. However, the difference between Clubhouse and Chalet is the fact that Chalet changed a lot more. And looking at this old version of Chalet, I was actually really surprised with that. I don't remember this map changing all that much, to be honest. I remember quite a lot of change on the top floor, but that's about it really, other than some minor things. But a lot more changed here than I thought. In fact, pretty much every single room on the map changed in some way. So let's go on another nostalgia trip and check out the old Chalet and see how it differs to the new version. As always, let's start off with the attacker spawn points. Like a couple of the maps we've covered so far, this one also lost one of its spawn points, that being the front yard. Unlike the others though, I think there's a good reason why this one was removed, because this front door here used to be open but now it's blocked off. So now there wouldn't really be any reason to actually spawn at this spawn point. Not only that though, but this tower right next to the spawn point used to be climbable, as it had a ladder here. You can get a nice view in all of these windows. The tower still exists, but the ladder does not, so you can't climb up here anymore. Funnily enough, the ladder supports are still there though. I guess they forgot to remove those and it does look a little bit goofy. Other than a couple of cars changing models and positions, there isn't really anything else that's changed over in this area. So let's move over to the lakeside. There isn't actually really anything interesting over here that isn't on the building. Of course, the doors and the windows on the building, we're going to get into those later when we cover the indoor areas. But there's a bunch of boulders here next to this wall now in the rework that weren't there in the original, I guess just to give the attackers a bit more cover. Also, this ladder is floating, basically unplayable. There is also a wall now just to the right of this ladder that leads up to the balcony. This gives players more cover when climbing the ladder from that window in the games room. Then at this ladder in the front yard, you can see it shifted positions a bit because this room on the right extended out a bit more in the rework, so there's a bit less space here now. This balcony also changed a bit as well because of the stuff inside the building changing around, and this used to be called the bathroom balcony, but now it's still just called the front yard. There used to be a really weird window leading to the trophy room on the west side of the building. This window is now gone. Why was this window weird though? Well, for a start, for some reason it was actually barricaded from the outside, which is a pretty rare thing to see. But there was also no way you could actually climb through this window. You could climb through it from the trophy room to the outside, but you can't go from the outside to the trophy room through this window because you can't actually rappel up this wall. However though, in the rework you can rappel up this wall, but this window isn't here anymore, so there's no reason to even rappel up this wall. How amusing. Campfire is another spawn point that hasn't really changed at all from what I can see, but if we get closer to the building, we can see this tree here was removed in the rework. This might seem pretty irrelevant at first, but removing this tree leaves a line of sight to this trophy room window now, which therefore gives the defenders a new peek on the campfire spawn point now, and now probably the most memorable part of Old Chalet, the kitchen window. You either loved or you hated this thing. I think it would have been nice to keep this window, to be fair, because I don't think it was that unbalanced for either team. I mean, defenders could get some really nice peeks on the attackers, but attackers could also do the same when attacking the kitchen and dining room objectives. This window's just been replaced by a normal sized window now, which is permanently closed. Then there's this tower to the east, which was there in both versions, but it was definitely more useful in the original just because there were so many more windows and doors you had access to. Previously, you had 5 windows you could look through to the top of Fireplace. Only one of these windows remain, but it isn't visible from this tower because of this new wall they added. The door to the fireplace still exists, but there also used to be a breachable window to the left of it, which is now closed. Of course, there's the kitchen window that we we covered before as well, which you had a clear angle from this tower. There also used to be a breachable window to the office. Then you have the bedroom and trophy room windows, which still exist in the rework. And then Cliffside's spawn point is pretty much the same as well. There is this cave here which I never even knew existed, to be fair. It was in the original and it's still in the rework. Then the last thing to cover outside for now is this garage wall to the south, which did actually change quite a lot. It's a lot wider both sides now in the rework, and you used to have these windows open at the top, and defenders would love to throw C4s through here. This was always so fun to do, unless you were the one getting blown up by the C4 of course. All 5 of these windows are closed now, although they're in completely different positions to how they used to be. But there is a new window just below that which is now breachable, which never used to be there in the original. This ladder here that leads up to the balcony just above the garage wall also never used to exist, but I mean there wouldn't have really been a point for it in the original either because there was no window here. And now we'll smash through the garage wall and check out the building. So the snowmobile garage for a start changed a little bit. I mean the stairs used to be a lot further away towards the north, but now they're all the way to the south wall. This now gives a bit more space in the garage. What the hell is this? These shelving units next to the stairs also never used to exist, so there was a lot less cover by the stairs. And there also used to be a hatch in the ceiling in this room, which led into the bar. This hatch definitely made this site a lot less defender friendly. You may notice that a lot of the ceiling looks breachable in the original compared to the rework, but this isn't actually the case. It's actually the same across both versions. Just in the original, the entire ceiling was made out of wood in here, despite only a portion of it being breachable. This is actually the case with a lot of rooms in this map, and a lot of old maps in general, which made it overall quite confusing to tell what parts were actually breachable and what wasn't. The changes in Wine Cellar I don't think impacted the defenders as much though, although this room definitely still did change a lot. It used to be more of an L shape, whereas now it's a rectangle. The whole southeast corner never used to be accessible. There also used to be this small room within the wine cellar called the wine stock, which gave the defenders quite a lot more cover, as you could reinforce these walls here if you wanted to. You had 2 breachable walls at the back as well, which led into the corridor, and these are the same breachable walls that are there nowadays that lead into that corridor. This door to the blue hallway never used to exist. This used to just be, well, not a brick wall, but, you know, wine barrels, but with a brick wall behind them, of course. Also, this blue hallway used to be called the Snowmobile Garage Corridor, what a mouthful. But other than this part of the hallway not existing, and it just being a brick wall when you turn right out of that door from the Snowmobile Garage, nothing has really changed in this hallway. There also used to be a breachable wall to the right of this door that led to the basement hallway. This one is now just a solid wall though. Now this east basement side of the map is definitely the least changed across both versions. Other than the minor stuff, like props changing position or shrinking a tiny bit, the only notable changes really are the hallway stairs moving more to the north in the rework, so there's a bit more space there now, and this hatch in the irrelevant garage no longer existing. Though, to be fair, I don't think anyone really used this hatch anyway, as far as I know. It felt like a pretty pointless hatch. Now let's head up these northwest stairs to the first floor. And this floor definitely did see a lot of change. We can already see some of that when heading into this west main entrance, which used to be called just the main entrance. There used to be a double set of stairs here, leading from the basement to the first floor, then from the first floor to the second floor, but now it's just a one set of stairs leading from the basement to the first floor. This second set of stairs led to the bedroom hallway, which nowadays is basically the piano room. The stairs leading down to the basement moved to the west slightly, and the stairs that were going up to the second floor is now replaced by a wall and a breachable window. This area where I'm standing right now used to be in the building and used to be underneath where the stairs were that led up to the second floor. The main door here used to be breachable as well, with 2 breachable windows either side. The door and the 2 windows have now been closed off, but a new window to the left of the door has been added, and that one is now breachable. This room is also where the hatch was that led into the main garage. Nowadays, the door to the dining room is in this room. Previously though, it actually used to be in the kitchen hallway, right where this breachable wall now is. Other than that door being replaced by a breachable wall, the kitchen hallway is basically the same, although this planting area was removed on the west side. Remember that set of stairs that were removed? Well, this set of stairs was actually moved to the trophy room. The trophy room never used to have stairs, and the only access point to this room for defenders was the kitchen hallway. This new set of stairs leads up to the solarium. Yes, I did have to research how to pronounce this word, otherwise I'd be saying solarium, like some kind of Harry Potter spell or something. There used to be a window on the west side as well, but this window is now gone. We talked about this one a bit outside, and this was the one where we couldn't rappel into. And other than a few props moving around, that's pretty much it for the trophy room. So let's move to the kitchen, where the biggest change is that window, of course. Other changes include this breachable wall being breachable in the original, the door to the dining room being a double door instead of a single door like it is nowadays, and the hatch to the master bedroom being on the north side rather than the south side like it is now. Now we've already seen quite a lot of change on the first floor, but now this is where the map gets even crazier. The dining room for a start changed quite a bit, the most saddest thing being this drone hole no longer existing. I just love shooting people through this thing. The drone hole moved to the east wall instead, and there's also a new planting section on this east bit which never used to exist in the original. This part towards the north got a bit wider, because this bit right here is where the basement stairs used to be. As they were pushed back more towards the west though, this area is now in the dining room. 2 breachable walls have now been added into the fireplace. There used to be a planting area here instead, and comparing the 2 dining rooms, you can see the original one was a bit bigger. That's because the one nowadays has been split into 2 different rooms, the dining room and the dining hallway. Where I'm standing now in the original is where the dining hallway now is. So where was the dining hallway in the original? Well, it didn't exist actually. We never used to have 2 hallways connecting together, with a door in the corner leading to the fireplace. Instead, the dining room and the bar used to just connect straight to the fireplace by themselves. We did have this little connector though between the dining room and the fireplace, although it was still just called the dining room. This was a nasty room though. People would like to just leave frost traps in the leaves and stuff, and it would be so mean. Kind of funny though. One thing I didn't even notice with the dining room until I walked out into the fireplace is the fact that the dining room actually shrunk on the south side as well. The south wall was pushed in more. We can see this just based on the outside door to the fireplace, because this outside door hasn't changed position at all. But in the original, this door is a lot closer to the dining room wall. Oh my god, so much changed here. This video is going to be like an hour long. Well, I guess this window's a good starting point. This one actually used to be breachable in the original, so you had the window and the door to look through from outside. Those weren't the only entryways to outside though. There were actually 5 windows up at the top as well, which you could get to by climbing up the ladder outside onto the balcony. Only one of these windows is still breachable nowadays. Even with this window though, you can't really see as much into the fireplace as you could in the original, because this balcony here was actually extended in the rework as well. So yeah, this balcony never actually used to touch the windows, so attackers couldn't just go straight from the window to the balcony upstairs. They had to walk all the way around. We'll talk about that a bit more later though when we get to the second floor. Remember when we were talking about the garage wall outside and how it got wider in the rework? Well, we can actually see this from indoors in the fireplace now. This whole southeast corner in the original used to be a wall and inaccessible, but now this whole area has opened up. This then gave the stairs to the second floor more space, so they were moved back towards the east more. Originally, they were actually in line with the basement stairs. And also remember when I mentioned about the garage stairs being pushed all the way to the south wall in the rework, whilst in the original they were out a bit more. Again, in this room we can see that now. The stairs indeed have pushed all the way to the south wall, so those are now in line with the ones leading up to the second floor. One of the crazier changes in here though is the bar door, because this bar door actually used to be a double door and it used to be on the right of the fireplace. This wall is now just a brick wall though, and the door was instead changed to a single door and moved to the left of the fireplace. On the left of the fireplace originally was a breachable wall that led behind the bar in the bar. This is also right where the hatch was that led down to the garage, and instead of the fireplace, this used to be called the Great Room. What a great name. In the bar itself, a lot changed for such a small room. I mean, so much that there's no point me even going through everything because everything changed. I guess the breachable walls leading to the games room are in the same place though, and same with the jukebox, can't forget about that. The door leading to the hallway used to be a double door as well, whereas nowadays it's a single door with two breachable walls either side. And these breachable walls didn't exist in the original, and they were just solid walls. Before we get to that hallway though, let's talk about the games room, which is another room that changed a lot. The layout is mostly the same though, with just a few props being moved around in the middle of the room and some more cover being added by that window. Although I do need to specify which window that is, because there actually used to be a second window in this room as well, which was on the south wall. Bar stock did not actually exist in the original. This space right here did actually just used to be outside. This then also means the door connecting bar to bar stock did not exist as well. That was just a brick wall. And this wall here that overlooks the stairs to the basement also used to just be a brick wall in the original, because on the other side of this wall was just outside. Now we're not quite finished with the games room yet though, because there actually used to be a main door in this room that led outside as well, which was on the west wall. It was pretty much right here in the rework. Yeah, you can pretty much imagine how undefendable games room was back in the day. It's not even great nowadays, but back then, oh wow. Gaming room hallway did actually feel a bit more claustrophobic in the original, but I think they're actually the same width. It's mostly just the more overgrown plants in the original that gave it that more smaller feel. Because this corridor never used to connect straight to the dining room, going right out of this bar door used to just lead straight to a brick wall. There used to be a hatch in the middle of this hallway as well. Quite a weird place to have a hatch, to be honest. I'm not sure how useful this one used to be. And then finally for the first floor, the mudroom, which then used to be called the west entrance. And it was a lot smaller back then. Like, it was literally just a square. Like, what is this? You can barely even call this a room. In the rework, it was extended a lot more towards the west, and the door was replaced by a window. And now finally, we could head up to the second floor. There actually used to be big gaps in these stairs, so you could shoot people down the corridor on the first floor, even when standing right at the top of the stairs. If we compare the two versions right as we walk up the stairs, we can see there used to be a big double door at the end of the hallway in the original, which led to the bedroom hallway. This door has now moved to the left side, which leads to the piano room in the rework. This wooden support here is basically in line with where the original door used to be. The window in here that led outside also changed position. It used to be directly opposite the upper fireplace door, but now it's closer to that library door. And of course the hatch in here is gone. So let's move to the library entrance now, where the only change in here is that west door being removed and changed to a solid wall. Because in here actually used to be two doors to the library, one to the west and one to the south, but now only the south one is there. The library surprisingly is a very minimal changed area of the map. Barely any of the props in here even moved. The breachable floor was extended a bit more to the north though, because this corner here, in front of where the window is, never used to be breachable. This is right below that main window in the games room. The hatch moved a little bit more towards the north in the rework as well, and there was originally a bit more cover blocking it. And finally, there used to be 3 windows in this room. This one in the southwest corner used to be breachable, but it's now blocked off. And one thing that I'm just adding in here, which I completely forgot about, is that the ceiling above the bar used to be breachable, whilst nowadays it's not breachable at all. We mostly covered everything in the mezzanine, which used to be called the second floor fireplace hallway, but let's look in more detail at where the balcony actually extended in the rework. In the rework, it extends straight after the pillar of the fireplace. So that means in the original, the balcony would have been right here. So it's actually the 4th window that's currently breachable nowadays. The 5th window was completely removed, because it would be right here in the office instead. So what about this bedroom hallway part with the railings around it here? Well, this is just the end of the library hallway now. It's just got all solid walls around it instead. Although we do have that breachable wall now on the east side which leads into the office. This wall used to just be solid. There also used to be a hatch in the floor right here, which nowadays would be right in front of the piano door. This hatch led to the dining room entrance, which nowadays would be the dining room corridor. Now let's talk about the piano room, which used to be the bedroom hallway, but there's pretty much no similarities between these 2 rooms, to be honest. It has extended more to the west as well, which is the main reason why that window in the library hallway had to move, because if it was where it was before, it would just lead into the piano room. There's now a window all the way to the left when walking through this door, and previously this used to just be a planting area, and then there's the stairs of course that were removed, which used to be about here. The bedroom and the office doors are actually in the same place though. The 2 walls either side of the office door used to be breachable, but now they're just solid walls. Let's check out the office now, and we can see the shape of it changed a bit. It used to have this big chunk of it cut out in the northwest corner, which was reserved for the bedroom hallway, but it's now a proper square room. Pretty much all of the changes to this room were game changing. This whole area to the right of the west what? This whole area to the right of the door never used to exist. It actually used to just be a brick wall. I completely forgot about this area not existing, to be honest. So that already leaves minimal cover in this room. But what's worse is there was actually a big window on the east wall. So yeah, this room was pretty bad back in the day. There did used to be a balcony outside this window that also connected to the master bedroom window that attackers could stand on, and there was also a ladder going up to this balcony. This balcony was completely removed in the rework though, so attackers would have to rappel up instead. So it's a little bit more difficult to attack from that master bedroom window now. Not as significant for the defenders, but the door to the balcony didn't used to be all the way to the wall. It used to be a bit more to the right and in the middle of the balcony. This would make it really difficult for the attackers to even think about entering this balcony. The ladder was a death trap, because obviously you can't shoot when climbing the ladders. So defenders could literally just watch the ladder from the door, wait for your silly little head to appear, and shoot it. Even if you do manage to get up the ladder somehow though, you still have to watch out for all of the fireplace windows, because defenders could be looking through any one of them. It definitely made attacking this room more unbearable from the balcony, but in the end it didn't really matter because of that window existing and being able to just attack from there instead, which was better in every single way. The bedroom is in pretty much the same boat actually. Basically every change that was made in here really did impact this room on how it's defended. Most of the props are still in the same place, but this room still lost a lot of cover because the closet didn't exist in the original. This was all just open space before. Those breachable walls that lead into the bedroom hallway, or the piano room as it's now known, are still in the same place though. The main window was here in both versions of the map, but there was actually a second window as well, which is pretty much exactly where the solarium door is right now, because solarium didn't actually exist in the original. This was all outside, so that's another reason why the stairs didn't used to be in the trophy room. Out this window was a balcony called the bedroom terrace, which attackers could rappel up to. There was also a double door next to the window as well. This was a very common place to attack from, and considering attackers could just plant on the other side of this door, it was a very hard objective to defend. So where was the entrance to the bathroom then? Well, it actually used to be in the master bedroom itself, right where this breachable wall is actually. It used to be more of a rectangle shape, but now it's a square, because it was extended on the west, but shrunk on the south. The window in here used to be a double window and all the way over the opposite side of the room. This door that leads to the piano room nowadays of course didn't exist in the original because this would just be above the stairs otherwise. So originally there was only one entrance to the bathroom, which was from the master bedroom. And then the breachable walls that connect the closet to the bathroom didn't exist in the original, and this was just a brick wall instead. There still did used to be a breachable wall in this bathroom though, which led into the bedroom hallway and was opposite that bedroom door. Because the bathroom extended more to the south in the original, where I'm standing right now in the piano room used to be in the bathroom. The bathroom being that big is also why the office had that weird shape to it. If the bathroom was the same size nowadays as it used to be, there wouldn't be any gap to actually get to the bedroom door. So I think that's pretty much the whole map covered then. Let's get to the objectives. We'll start off with the bomb objectives. The only one that changed here was kitchen and dining room, which used to be the kitchen and trophy room. I imagine this changed because of the stairs being moved to the trophy room. Also, this is a very minor thing, but the ordering of these bomb objectives back then was very weird. Usually the ordering of objectives goes from the topmost floor to the bottommost floor, but in this case, it went second floor, first floor, basement, then back to the first floor again, with the kitchen and trophy room. What is that about? Considering some maps only had 3 bomb objectives back in the day, it makes me think maybe kitchen and trophy room wasn't originally going to be a bomb objective, and it was added last minute. I could be wrong with that though. Thank God they fixed this very serious issue in the rework though. Similarly with Theme Park, the rankings of these objectives changed quite a lot between both versions. Nowadays, the master bedroom and the office is considered the best objective. Whilst back then, I think this one was considered the worst objective, or maybe the third worst. It does make sense though. The office was pretty much undefendable. You couldn't stay in this room at all. You pretty much just had to cover it from the bedroom hallway instead. And the bedroom was pretty much in the same boat actually because of that door that led out to the bedroom terrace. There was no cover at all in any of these 2 rooms, and the rework definitely did fix that. The ranking for bar and gaming room on the other hand didn't really change. It was considered the worst bomb objective back then because it was freaking terrible. The gaming room especially, oh my god, this room was a disaster. It's so much better nowadays, but it is still considered the worst or the joint worst objective just because the bedroom and the garage got so much better. I'm not sure what objective is actually considered better between the bar and gaming room and the dining room and kitchen. Personally, I prefer the bar and gaming room, but I feel like these 2 objectives are pretty much on par with each other in the rework, and you're not weird at all if you choose one over the other. Now I could be completely wrong with this, my memory isn't the best, but I think kitchen and trophy room was actually considered the best objective back then. Kitchen was very defendable. You could defend it from the dining room and have someone watching that kitchen window to make sure no one shoots you from behind. And the trophy room, you pretty much just had that one window to worry about, as attackers couldn't rappel into the other one. It's possible garage and wine cellar was better, but I feel like these 2 were still quite close. Garage and wine cellar is considered the second best objective nowadays, and it was a bit worse back then, but the difference isn't anywhere near as significant as the bar and gaming room and the master bedroom and office. The hatch was the main problem in the garage, and the main problem for wine cellar was not being able to rotate back to the garage because there was no connection to the blue corridor. Let me know what objective you preferred back then. I went to secure area and hostage thinking that most of them would just be the same, like they have been for all of the other maps. But for some reason the majority of these actually did change. In fact, only one of the secure area objectives stayed the same, which was library. The other objectives were dining room, bar and garage, whilst nowadays it's piano room, fireplace and wine cellar. Piano room and fireplace seem like really weird objective choices though. I mean, piano room feels more like of a connector room that connects multiple rooms together, rather than an objective based room. And then fireplace is just a massive room, which again feels more like just a room that you use to get to multiple other rooms. You don't really see these kinds of objectives in any other map, but it definitely makes the map more interesting. Then 2 out of 4 of the objectives changed for hostage. The kitchen objective was moved to the fireplace again, and then the wine cellar objective was moved to the garage. So the garage and the wine cellar were both objectives in hostage and secure area, but they were just switched between both modes. That is finally Chalet done. Sorry that this video was so long. I mean, I don't know how long this video is at the time of me recording this, but I imagine it's going to be at least over 30 minutes, and definitely the longest video we've had so far. But just so much changed in this map. A lot more than I thought. Overall, Chalet went from a pretty attacker-sided map to an overall very balanced map. I feel like this is honestly one of the most balanced maps in the game, to be honest. And I love these kinds of maps where the last 2 bomb objectives are kind of on par with each other. So it's a different experience every time, because you're not just getting the exact 3 same objectives being played every single time. I just love Chalet, one of my favourite maps for sure. Well, thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed watching this long ass video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.